So back in the 80s, we had a series on TV um, and action figures called G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe has sort of come out recently with their like spin-off and new stuff. They're like trying to like bring it back or whatever. It does not have the same momentum it did back in the day. And the storyline was sort of weak when I saw the movies, whatever. In the 80s, the show was on every morning. Like it was on like every morning. And it was their company's way essentially of marketing to the mass population of kids out there, mostly boys, because G.I. Joe's manly and shit, um, to sell their toys. And which, by the way, were awesome. There was a couple companies out there that tried to make similar action figures that just weren't as nimble, cool. They'd break easily. You know, it was so stupid. Um, they later tried to mass market this like giant size version of GI Joe, which was stupid if you ask me. I'm really trying not to use the f bomb because I like to swear. Um, I'm trying not to use that word as much as possible. Anyways, so the series is on TV, and I'm totally invested in it as a child. Like I love the series. You know, my best friend and I play with it all the time. Yeah, we're just and in the series, there's a moment in time where a guy named Duke dies, and GI Joes didn't die very often. Like they rarely ever died. Mostly it was just battles between Cobra and GI Joe. GI Joes would just win the day all the time, and Cobra would like be like, well, you haven't seen our next big thing, and there's always another battle. I remember GI Joe's losing like aircraft or whatever, things would explode, but guys would always like parachute out and win. So there was always a victor, some the heroes, the heroes. Well, there was like I think it was a two-part episode. It was like two separate days of watching this, and this guy dies. And I think it was Duke. I can't remember for sure what his name was because it was like when it was like 7 or something when I saw it. Um, but I watched this. He dies, and I left the room, and I cried. I cried. Um, I was, I didn't really mind the whole concept of what war is and all the glorification of it that came with it, spawned this like child of mine that even when in like 1990s they had the Gulf War, there was literally an action card on like a trading card series they had put out to the mass population to sort of bolster this like to like seed the future young people that war is cool. And it was like, oh, let's collect all the different planes the United States uses, and let's collect all you know the types of military men the army uses, the fuck, all the different military types that the United States uses. And did they have a? I don't even know if they had a Saddam Hussein card or anything, but I'm sure that was a rare one. um, but it was like the whole general idea of what war was and what we saw it as at that age when we were young kids was like war is badass, you know, it's totally hardcore. But then it's like the moment one of my favorite characters, like I loved that guy. He died and I cried like a kid. It sort of planted a seed that literally was like starting to take over and make me realize things weren't as like okay as they seemed based on a TV show that kids watch. Going back and looking at it now, I'm like, what the hell were they showing us? Like, why were they showing this to us? Like, it's dumbfounding, but I don't know. I just thought I figured I'd just like kind of throw that out there as being like interesting, interesting little thing. Um, I cried. One of my favorite GI Joe guy died. Uh, those were the '80s. Yeah, yeah. Whatever. All right, you guys have a great, great night.